Welcome to the lesson. This lesson is aimed at people who want to learn the basics of music technology, but is also ideal for people who want to revise their knowledge of some of the key elements of music technology. So, what is music technology? Wikipedia defines music technology as the study or the use of any device, mechanism, machine, or tool by a musician or composer to make or perform music, to compose, notate, play back or record songs or pieces, or to analyze or edit music. So you can see that this is a very broad subject, but there are some key studies that can help narrow it down. Here are some resources that I really recommend you checking out. They show how music technology has evolved through time, and there's also a live performance where you can see technology being used to enhance the performance. So, what examples of music technology can you think of? I encourage you to write down any ideas before I move on to the next slide. Here are some things you might have written down, and in the next few slides, we'll be looking at this technology closer to help give you a better understanding of music tech. First, let's look at the MP3 player. An MP3 player is a device that can store music files and play them back using a built-in software interface. The most common music file type is MP3, which is where it gets its name from. When you click play, the music file, represented here by the ones and zeros, gets turned into an electrical signal, represented here by the pluses and minuses, which is then converted into sound by speakers or headphones, and sound here is represented by hertz or Hz. Most phones and tablets now have this feature built in. Now let's talk about headphones. Headphones take an electrical signal sent from a device, this could be an MP3 player or it could be something like a guitar amp, and it turns that into vibrations in your ear, otherwise known as sound. More specifically, an electrical signal will travel up a cable to a magnetic coil in the headphones, which moves to generate sound pressure that your ears pick up. Headphones work the same as a pair of speakers, so you can think of headphones as a miniaturized pair of speakers for your ears. Let's talk about the microphone. Microphones essentially work the same as a pair of speakers or headphones, just in reverse. Vibrations from your voice move a magnetic coil in the microphone, which creates an electrical signal. This process is then reversed at the other end to turn the electrical signal back into sound. Now on to one of my favourites, the cassette tape. A cassette tape is a miniaturised version of the big tape machines used in the music studios in the 1960s and 70s. Musical information is stored on the magnetic tape inside the plastic case. When you press on the play button on the cassette player, a small electromagnet presses down on the tape and reads the musical information. This is sometimes called the magnetic head. So, what are the positives and negatives of cassette tapes? Well, the positives, cassette tapes are rewritable, which means that you can record onto blank tape and create mixtapes. They're also cheaper to produce than vinyl records. However, tape is fragile and could jam in a player, and running a magnet over the cassette could corrupt it. Being rewritable also had its downfalls because it meant piracy was possible. Good for people who wanted cheap music, but not so good for people who made it. Now on to compact discs or CDs. CDs, like cassette tapes, were rewritable and cheaper to produce than vinyl. However, they also build on the mistakes that cassette tapes made. So, no more fragile tape, and CDs could store more music than cassette tapes could. A CD player uses a laser to read the musical information on the disc and not a magnet like cassette tapes. Musical information on a CD is stored digitally and not analog like cassette tapes. Finally, let's talk about vinyl. Vinyl is made using a fine needle that cuts tiny grooves into a large disc like the one you see on the right. A needle on the record player then retraces the grooves, causing the needle to vibrate, which recreates the sound. They get their name from polyvinyl chloride, the material most records are made out of. They are expensive today because they're not mass-produced and are sought after by collectors, which has caused the price to increase over time. So, now that you know what you know, why not test what you've learned by making a poster?